Yo guys, what's up? Trader Main back here in the video. So we got another move up here. It's looking really strong. We've got a few things I think to consider outside of just purely the technicals. So I'll touch on those quickly. Obviously, we've had the ETF approval, right? And the big concern with regard to the ETF approval was the GBTC outflows, right? So people selling out of Grayscale. So we had a large correction. This is a 20% pullback. Like I said, we're dealing in the top of this, in this range here, upper part of December's range. We deviated the high. My hope was that we would then deviate the low. Still not out of the question, but obviously this is a very strong pullback so far. It's looking extremely strong, and I'm not interested in being stubborn and trying to short a market out of spite because I want it to go down and I want my analysis to be right and I want to buy cheaper. If it's bullish, right? I think a common mistake a lot of people will make, look at Capo, who I always bring up, is stubbornness. You want it to go down and then you end up missing out on a clear, obvious change in the state of delivery. Price is now bullish and it's going up, and now you got to get on board, or else you miss this entire move from the bottom because you're just stubborn and you're like, well, it's got to go to 10K, but it went to 15 and then all the way up to 50, and you're saying at no point you changed your bias. So this is a microcosm of that, right? I want it to go down here for a variety of reasons. One, I want to make money potentially shorting it on the way down. Two, I want to be able to long cheaper. And three, of course, I would like my analysis to be correct so I can collect clout on sweet twitter.com. But if it's not going to go down, that's fucking fine, right? Then I'll long it. I have no problem being wrong. I had longs in here. Obviously, I had the long here that ended up fumbling. But if this thing's not going to break down from here, so be it, right? So at this point, it's looking very strong. Obviously, with the GBTC thing, what we've seen is since this point here, the outflows have drastically decreased and the inflows have remained constant. So you just have that consistent buying inflows of spot BTC. Now, anything can happen. This could deviate here, trade back down, right? But I have no interest. Just because I want it to reject here doesn't mean I'm just shorting this. Now, in theory, this is the breaker, right? And technically, you guys know I use the entire breaker zone. So, I can make the box bigger, and now it hasn't broken through my zone. But in reality, I want to see this reject like pretty much between here and 47K, or else it's not going to, right? And that was kind of my thesis. I'm like, if it's holding 46, 47K, heck, if it's even holding on top of December's range, I think the likelihood of this rolling over is a lot less. And then guess what? I'm on Team Bull and we're targeting, where next? 55K, higher, right? So no problem being wrong. If the market's going to go up, guess what? I'm going to try and get long and be on board with it. I'm not interested in longing right here. I would much rather wait and see what happens up here. Let's see if we consolidate. If that consolidation's bullish, maybe we get some sideways up here and then we get a sweep. Great. Now I have a long trigger and I'm in. Otherwise, I'm going to wait and see. We still could reject here, but I'm not suggesting, nor have I personally shorted blindly. I think that's just stupid to, short this because you think it has to go down and run the risk of, fucking getting run over in clear strength. If it's going to go down, right, there's going to be a clue. The most obvious clue would be us failing back below here. So that's like setup number one. If you really want this thing to go down and you want to be sure it's going to go down, losing December's high and trading back below here, now that long idea has a whole lot more weight. Number two, it would be lower time frame, right? Right now on the low time frame, there is nothing telling me that this is ready to go down yet. If you look at the ETF high here, right, we had the spike above an old high, then we had a breakdown, right? Break in market structure, spike above an old high, fair value gap, displacement, and then we got a big sell-off, right? So yeah, you're not shorting the spike, but there's clear signs of distribution and of clues that this thing is going to go lower. We don't have that yet on the low time frame. What would that look like? Well, I mean, right now there's nothing here. If we were to lose December's high, okay, now this starts to look like distribution, and maybe we were just running, some liquidity in this order block, this internal range liquidity, this breaker, right? Otherwise, I would want to see maybe at least a loss of this zone, right? So then you have some displacement through here. So a move like this, but the inverse, right? Strong move down. That might be a clue that we're going lower. Or we consolidate here, run this high, and then get back below it. But as it stands right now, there is no technical trigger here to short. Because where's your stop go? Right here, we have the run above the high and then the failure. Now you know that this is where your trade idea is wrong, right? On the short side, on any of this action here, once it failed, that's your invalidation. Right now, if you were to short, where's your stop? Like, where's it go? Does it go up here? Because if your stop is up here, unless you're targeting all the way back down into here, the risk reward's not very good. Let's assume you short right now and your stop is way the fuck up here. It's got to go all the way to December's low for you to get, or to December's low for you to get 2.5R. I think if you're patient, maybe your entry won't be as good, but if we get some sort of rejection here and it breaks below this, now all of a sudden your stop is above this high. And to that same December's low, we've almost doubled the risk reward. Worse entry, but we have confirmation and we have a much clearer invalidation level. So trust me, I want it to go down for the reasons I stated. I would love to buy cheaper, but if the market is strong and it's going to go up, don't fight it. If it's going to break down and distribute and pull back, there will be a clue. It is not just going to all of a sudden nuke in one single candle all the way down and you had to short the green candle to get in. There will be clues on the lower time frames. Just like this was bottoming here, right? Where's the clue? Okay, well, took out a low, displaced higher. Okay, now we're bullish here, right? So we want to see something like the inverse of this happen, right? For us to have a clue that this might pull back. So don't step in front of the moving train unnecessarily, right? If you want to short, if you think it's going to go down and you want to fade this thing, there's no need to be the hero and trying top ticket, right? The only time I would consider just blindly shorting it, right, is when there's something like this here and it's like, okay, this could be a clear liquidity grab and you're willing to cut it right away. But most people are going to try and get the hero entry. They're going to short here. They're going to short here. Maybe it goes a little higher. They short here. Maybe it does pull back and you're right, but it's just a risky game. I think you're much better off, at least how I trade, to wait for confirmation, right? Just like any bottom or top we've had. Consolidated, clear liquidity grab, displacement, market structure break. Okay, now you're short biased. And yeah, maybe you didn't short this, but any of these shorts that came after were much higher probability because you saw the clue in price. So I'm personally not shorting this. Of course, I'm salty. I fumbled my longs from down here. Of course. But I'm not going to revenge short it trying to make it up, right? I'll either wait for some clear signs of weakness or I'll wait for a long setup to get long, right? We have this new 12-hour range here. So if we come back here, I would probably punt along. I don't know if we'll pull back this far. I have no idea. But I'm waiting for something clear. There's no reason to rush it. There's no reason to force it. I understand the move is happening. We're up 10%, in the last couple of days, and maybe you're not in the trade. Maybe you thought it was going down and it's going up. Sometimes you have to be patient and you have to wait. The market will give you a clue if you're right. Okay, if we're going to go down, trust me, you're going to see something on the lower time frame giving you a clue. It's going to be a loss of a low, a failure above a high, right? A loss of a level like December's range. So there's no point other than, I think it's ego purely trying to force it by saying, well, it's got to go down because I said it was going to go down, right? That's ego. It's an emotion. You don't want that in your trading. Or just trying to get that hero entry so you can flex and say, look, I shorted the wick. Oftentimes those people, when we do have a move like this, right, and it does break down and someone posts like the short here, like look at my short entry. I bet you they shorted here and here and here and here, and they're just posting the one that worked, right? So keep that in mind. It's not everything you see is as it seems on the internet. So that's what I'm waiting for here. It's looking pretty fucking strong. If we get some bullish consolidation up here, just some grind, like if it's like this, right? And it's just grinding up here. And here we got a sweep of a low. It gave us a trigger, right? Guess what? I'll be looking to long. And I'll throw the short idea out the window. But for now, sitting on my hands. I'm being patient. There's no need to rush anything. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Educational video will be up tomorrow afternoon according to the editor. So excited about that. Check out all the links in the description. Bybit if you want to support the boy. Haven, breakout prop. Let me know. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.